Welcome to Parev TV. Joining us today is a very well-known, respected member of our community, Mr. Zaven Khanjian, who's always been in the forefront of Armenian life. His career is really, truly exemplary. And I have to say, he's always been in the forefront, courageously, judiciously serving the nation and encouraging us. Today we turn to Zaven because he is full of experience and we can seek comfort, advice. His words of wisdom will, I'm sure, comfort us also. As we all know, the discussion is coronavirus, the virus that has affected each and every one of us. What I'd like to do is read only 3 words from his email. I was in touch with Zaven recently via email. And in his email, he used the following words. He said, "This is unprecedented, unimaginable reality." Zaven, can you tell us where you are, how you feel, what are you doing, and what are your thoughts about this unimaginable, unprecedented reality?
We really are in times that has not been experienced not only by our generation, but several generations. So we don't have any memory of an experience like this from our elders. History talks about 1918 and so on. Well, you know, our memory in the early 20th century is only the genocide, and for us the genocide in itself is much worse than what we've seen so far. So this is unprecedented. We haven't experienced it. The world hasn't experienced any lockdown in an era where we are so close to each other. It's ironic. We are so close to each other. And yesterday I was expressing to a friend of mine this thought of how ironic it is that the constructive mind of the human being has brought us so close to each other through technology, and yet the destructive mind of the human being, with all the armory, the nuclear power, their air forces, marine forces, armies, and so on, cannot face this coronavirus, a virus that is colorless, odorless. We cannot see it. It's ironic, totally ironic. So we're living, I guess, we are this generation experiencing such a pandemic, is also blessed that we are close to each other. I can see you, you can talk to me. We are in almost 95%, in business. We are operating all around. We're meeting our requirements, our budget requirements, our obligations, our mission requirements, and so on, because we can communicate with each other. And not only us from here, but also all those centers, operations centers, which are in the Middle East, which are in Armenia, in Artsakh, in Europe, in Australia, in South America. All of us can connect with each other. So I think about this blessing vis-a-vis the pittiness of man who spends trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to demolish, to destruct each other, while they cannot come together right now and fight this pandemic.
Mr. Khanjian, we decided to contact you because not only because of your experience, but today you had a very large association, the AMAA, and there are few organizations which are as large as the one you are heading. what are some of the challenges you face? You're working in, I know, over 26 countries, and I'm sure you daily get reports, contacted, you're in touch. What are some of the unique challenges some Armenian communities or communities in general are facing, which will be interesting to hear about?
Yeah. I think lately, just before this pandemic, we had prioritized our, uh, our priorities, and on the top of the list was the Near East. The Near East remains our priority. The Near East, before the this pandemic, was the center of attention because of the economic meltdown, because of the economic downfall in Lebanon. The situation was very bad. Our communities were suffering extremely because of the economic condition of that general downturn in Lebanon. And now we are facing this coronavirus, which has made things worse. By the time we tried to find alternative ways and means to reach out to our communities in Lebanon, specifically in Lebanon, when I talk about Lebanon, it covers a lot of our operations because there are 5 Armenian evangelical unions that we support, and one of the largest, the one before Armenia, I would say it's second to the largest, and the largest a long time ago, before Armenia got independence, was the Near East. And when we talk about the Near East, we're talking about Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Cyprus, Egypt, Greece. So we had that difficulty, we had that crisis of how to reach the Lebanese Armenians, and then through the center of our headquarters in the Near East to reach the others as well. Well, the banking situation didn't help us at the time, and we were waiting for some miracles. We were able to be creative and run through normal legal channels to get some cash into the hands of our communities over there. But then we were hoping that the banks will be allowed to transmit or release or let the account owners withdraw fresh cash that is being sent to Lebanon, which will assist also the other areas. Then came the pandemic, banks were closed, and now the closure of the banks is extended. So this is mostly hurtful to us. This is what really makes us suffer. However, having said that, I should say that, well, this is not neither a justification nor a remedy to ourselves even, that we have met our budgetary obligations to them, and they can have access to all these funds in Lebanese pounds. But whenever they intend to have Lebanese pounds from their US dollar accounts, they will be losing 30–40% compared to the market. So the Near East remains our main challenge. We're able to reach Armenia, we're able to reach all other operational areas, but the Near East is so drastically difficult to assist, and we're suffering because of that.
I know Near East is of great concern. I'm sure you will also want to talk about Armenia and Karabakh because every Armenian organization is involved in Armenia. How is the situation in Armenia?
I should start saying that we have almost 500 employees on our payroll in Armenia, a little less than 500 employees. All these 500 employees are safe and sound, and they have a secure job, and so all of them are doing fine. Our offices are closed. Everybody in all operational centers, be it in Yerevan, all around Armenia, be it in Karabakh, Stepanakert, and Chushi, All the offices are closed, and like everyone else, like every other institution in the whole world, we are working remotely. Having said that, some of our work, of course, can be done. For example, Abedisian School, which houses, again, almost 580 students right now, is remotely operational. There are the school administration was ready to immediately remotely start classes, and so teachers are on the job, and they teach the students who are remotely have access to their lessons. Uh, and we also have access to Armenia's financial system is conducive to transferring and transmitting funds. So every single recipient of any kind of donation can receive a wire transfer, even if he lives or she lives on in a border village anywhere in the country. So in that sense, we're happy that we have been able to reach out, and we are reaching out and helping everyone. But education, whatever we do, suffers. For example, the kindergartens in Artsakh are closed, and there's no remote study there. Our Shrove centers, which are the after-school schooling, are also closed, and we cannot remotely have access there as well. Of course, other than the Avedisian school, there is the problem in Armenia that not everyone has access to internet, Wi-Fi, a smartphone, or a laptop. So that also makes it difficult. But monetarily, I think our people are doing fine. Now, not only that, we're not satisfied, and we do not feel that we are at par in our mission and service if we do not extend a hand to others as well. So yesterday, discussing this with our Armenia representative and our leadership in Armenia, we decided that the staff everywhere, all AMAA staff, will adopt or initiate a movement to assist a neighbor, a friend, an acquaintance, someone who is needy of help today, someone who is out of work and out of income in Armenia. Because we're blessed with a job, because we're blessed with a safe position and income, we cannot feel satisfied unless we reach out and help someone else as well. So that initiative has started today, and all staff in Armenia and Artsakh are assisting and helping others in their neighborhoods, in their surroundings, in their acquaintances.
You know, when we speak about the diaspora, we speak about the major organization, and they are the diocese, the prelacy, the AMAA, HBU, the political parties. Have these organizations been talking to each other recently? And what are their concerns? What are a coordinated effort that they are all concerned and can work on?
The only experience I have, and hats off to the Armenian American Health Professionals Society organization on the East Coast. Larry Najarian has brought us together, representatives or leadership of NGOs, churches, medical experts, medical professionals, and collectively we're trying to do our best, both in reaching out to Armenia, reaching out to Artsakh, reaching out to our people there, and also providing information, providing data to communities in the US as to how we can help our communities. This is the only platform that I am aware of that I have been invited, and we're working together. Unfortunately, the other coalition of all the names that you mentioned, I have not been approached, and what we're seeing from APO currently is very satisfactory and we'll continue on doing our obligation and our collective work through this platform, on this platform, locally and globally.
Can more be done? If you were to take the lead, can more be done?
Difficult question, Vartan, very difficult. You know, I initiated the Syrian Armenian Relief Organization in 2012.
Absolutely, yes.
When
yes,
the Civil War started. And
but this is a different ball game. This is
totally. Yeah, but I'm talking about coordination, cooperation, collective work, and so on. I think that everybody can vouch that SARF did a wonderful job in its history.
Absolutely.
And has reached out to the Syrian Armenians, both in Syria and everywhere else, in Lebanon, in Armenia, and so on. I don't think it is repeatable right now. I don't think we can mirror that right now. I have a feeling that Armenian organizations like to work individually, like to work independently, and who knows, I'm not the judge whether that's the better way or not, but I don't think that that kind of a coordinated work in a different platform at least has been on the surface of being invited so far. So I'm satisfied with the APO platform.
You know, there is a lot we can talk about. In closing, as we wrap up, is there anything you can say to help us understand the situation we are in, to comfort us, to encourage us, or to make us feel stronger as a people? What is it that an average Armenian could use from Zaven Khanjian?
Well, before that, let me also say that the APO platform has helped us understand the needs in Armenia a little better. And so through the Armenia Fund, which is on the platform, on that APO platform, we have wired today a good amount of funds to be sent to Armenia to fight the coronavirus. This is specifically for the virus. And so hopefully others can join, other organizations, individuals, and through the best platforms that they choose, we can reach out to our peer and to our people in Armenia and help them fight this pandemic over there as well. Now, it is a time to pause, certainly. It is a time to think about life. It is a time to ponder about our mission in life. And for me, my life has always been a life of service, a life that takes sense and meaning in emulating the life of Jesus Christ, God incarnate on earth, and following him in whatever ways he assisted human beings, he assisted people on earth. And I'm not talking theologically, absurdly, and so on. I'm talking hands-on. When he healed the sick and he reached out to the poor and he advocated social justice for the poor, that's what I follow, that's what I do. This is an excellent time for us. If we're living in conditions which are better than others who are not, this is a great time for us to think, how can we improve our service? How can we do better? How can we be more creative in reaching out to our communities over here, our communities all over the world? And I'm not only talking about Armenian communities. I think it is our human obligation, it is our Christian obligation to reach out to every human being who has who is enjoying the miracle of life that is blessed by the Lord God himself. So that's how I look at it. I'm not bored. I'm not panicked. I'm not in fear. I trust in God. I have faith, but I do not have blind faith. It is not sitting in a corner of a hut and saying, I trust in God, and so God will protect me. I trust in action. I trust that we have to be creative, that we have to be creative, think, initiate, get out, and act. And this is a time to do more because more is needed, and because of the surroundings or the lockouts that we are in, I think we can do more and better.
There are many people who think some good, and a lot of good maybe, can come out of this situation we're in. Can you think of how our lives will be changing? It changed a lot after 9/11. It seems to be we're out for some types of changes, but what are some goods that will arise out of this situation?
I think I'll be repeating myself because I think I covered that in the sense that, you know, we're not talking about the negative because there will be negative after 9/11. Even the top U.S. administration denied that any negative effect will come to the U.S. or to the American people. But since then, we've been seeing all that. We will see certainly negative effects as well on this. But I think the positive effect for all of us who still live out this experience, this pandemic, you know, it will give us more reason to think that if we're blessed by, as I said, the miracle of life that God has blessed us with, and reflect the love of God around us in our surroundings, I think we can be better individuals, we can be better missionaries, and certainly sustain human life in a better way. Look at the mind. I like to quote just one verse from the Bible. It is in 2 Timothy 1:7, where the Apostle Paul says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." So if we take this as Vorbes Hortor, Vorbes Chrad, we learn from this, take it at heart, and first of all, do not fear because we know that God loves us. But at the same time, use that power and love of a sound mind, and we will overcome not only this, but we will prevent other pandemics and endemics that will face the human race in the future. Because God has given us that sound mind. The good, the constructive, sound mind will work on to face future pandemics like this and make life more enjoyable for human being and race.
Baron Zaven Khanjian, հայերենով անպայման պետք է խոսք մնես։ Հիմա դուք Լոս Անջելես եք եւ գիտեմ որ Նյու Յորք շրջանի մեջ շատ բարեկամներ ունիք, որոնք հավանաբար պիտի հետևին այս վիդեոն, ինչ է իրենց ուղղված խոսքը, որքան կարողացար իրենց եւ ինչ է իրենց ուղղված խոսք, քաչելրական խոսքը։
Այո, քիչ զնողական պիտի լասիգա, ագարականոր որ ես ամենամեծը չեմ, բայց բավական մեծ եմ արդեն, թե այս բարականերուն այո, հավատալ, թե Աստված մեզ կբահե, Աստված մեզի գնայի եւ Աստված մեզ կսիրե, բայց հնազանդ պետք է լանք մեզի դրված ուղղություններուն, հնազանդ պետք է լանք մեր ցերկերը լվալուն, արամանալու, մեգուսանալու, շշրվելու, հերու մնալու, որովհետև ադոնք դրամապանական, քիդական, հենզան օրենքներ են, ուղղություններ են, որոնք մեզի դրված են անպայմանորեն։ Կարողացած եմ բոլորը, ուրախ եմ, որ քեզ նման այսօր ինչպես կտեսնեմ նկարի վրա, հաջող իրարու հետ կխոսենք լավ Zoom conference-ով եւ կամ FaceTime-ով եւ կամ հեռացայինով, բայց եւ այնպես անպայման օրենքառուցած եմ կսպասեմ որ օրը պիտի կա որ մարդկությունը ասկից դուրս ելնելով մարդիկ իրարու կողմ պիտի կան եւ աստծո փառք տալով իսկապես ուրախության բահման պիտի ապրին ես ալանոր կսպասեմ մինչ այդ հաջիկ հնազանդ եղեք դրված ուղղություններուն դոկտոր Fauci-ին հատկապես դոկտոր Fauci-ին ուղղություններուն եւ բոլորսալ ապահով դուրս պիտի կան գասկից
Բարոն Zaven Khanjian մեր լավագույն մաղթանքները քեզի ապահով եղիր դուքար հնազանդ եղեք խրատները լսեցեք մեզի պես որբեսի ապահով անցնիգաս դժվարություններ վայելենք իրար շնորհակալություն
ես շնորհակալ եմ Վարդան